My beloved child, you have been asking me for a sign. Maybe not with those exact words. Maybe you never said it out loud. But I have heard the question hidden inside your prayers. I have heard it in the silence after you said amen. I have heard it in the sigh you released when nothing seemed to change. I have heard it in the moments when you looked toward heaven and wondered if anyone was listening. My child, you have been waiting for an answer, waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for a door to open, waiting for something to happen that would finally convince you that your prayers have not been forgotten. And I know this waiting has been difficult, because there were days when you expected things to turn around, days when you believed the answer would surely arrive, days when you thought the burden would finally lift. Yet the morning came and went. The week passed. The month passed. And still you found yourself standing in the same place, trying to stay faithful, trying to keep believing, trying to hold on when everything around you seemed unchanged. My child, I see the exhaustion you rarely show anyone. I see the smile you wear while carrying questions inside your heart. I see the strength it takes just to keep moving forward. And I want you to know something. Your waiting has not gone unnoticed. Not for a single moment. Every tear, every prayer, every sleepless night, every whispered cry for help. I have seen it all. There were moments when you felt abandoned. Moments when you wondered if I had forgotten your name. Moments when disappointment started speaking louder than faith. You tried to silence those thoughts. You tried to stay positive. You tried to convince yourself everything was fine. But deep inside, there was still a question. God, where are you? Are you really working? Do you still have a plan for me? My child, listen carefully. I am closer than you realize. Closer than your next breath. Closer than the fears that keep you awake. Closer than the doubts that keep whispering to you. You have been looking for evidence that I am moving. But what if I told you that I have been moving all along? What if I told you that things are happening right now that your eyes cannot yet see? What if I told you that the blessing you keep praying for is already on its way? Not because you earned it, not because you prayed perfectly, not because your faith was flawless, but because I love you, because I have not forgotten you, because I am faithful even when your heart grows tired. My child, there is something I need you to understand before we go any further. The greatest mistake people make during a season of waiting is assuming that silence means absence. But my silence is not my absence. Just because you cannot see me working does not mean I have stopped working. Just because the answer has not arrived does not mean I have said no. Just because the door has not opened does not mean I have abandoned the promise. Many times what looks like delay is actually preparation. Many times what feels like rejection is protection. Many times what appears to be a closed door is simply my hand guiding you towards something better. And right now, my child, I need you to hear this truth. You are not waiting alone. I am with you. I have been with you from the very beginning, and I will remain with you until the breakthrough comes. So before we continue, I want you to make a decision in your heart, not based on what you see, not based on how you feel, but based on who I am. If your heart is ready to trust me before you see the answer, if your heart is ready to believe before the miracle arrives, then say these words with faith. Lord, I will trust you, because what I am about to reveal to you may completely change the way you see this season of waiting. My child, your blessing is closer than you think. But I know something about the human heart, my child. When the waiting becomes long, it begins to feel heavy, not because you stop believing completely, but because disappointment slowly drains your strength. At first, you wait with excitement. You pray and expect. You believe and anticipate. You wake up thinking today might be the day everything changes. But when the answer doesn't come, something begins to happen inside you. The excitement turns into uncertainty. The uncertainty turns into frustration. And frustration slowly becomes weariness. I know that feeling. I know how difficult it is to keep hoping when your circumstances keep telling you a different story. I know how painful it is to pray for healing and still feel the pain, to pray for restoration and still see brokenness, to pray for provision and still face lack, to pray for direction and still feel lost. My child, The hardest part of waiting is not the delay itself. The hardest part is the questions the delay creates. Questions begin to rise inside your mind. Questions that steal your peace. Questions that steal your confidence. Questions that quietly whisper during the night. What if nothing changes? What if I'm hoping for something that will never happen? What if God has chosen someone else? What if my prayer isn't important enough? And before you realize it, you are no longer fighting the situation. You are fighting fear. You are fighting doubt. You are fighting the stories your mind keeps creating. My child, many people believe the greatest battle of faith happens in the storm, but often the greatest battle happens in the waiting. Because storms force you to run toward me. Waiting tempts you to drift away. Waiting tempts you to stop expecting. Waiting tempts you to settle for less than what I promised. The enemy understands this. He knows he cannot change my promises. So instead, he tries to exhaust your faith before the promise arrives. He whispers, "Nothing is happening. It's too late. You should give up. You should stop believing." But those whispers are not the truth. They are distractions designed to make you walk away too soon. My child, hear me carefully. The delay is not proof that I have forgotten you. The delay is not proof that I am absent. The delay is not proof that your prayers have failed. In fact, some of the greatest blessings I have ever given, my children, arrived after seasons that felt unbearably long. Think about it. The farmer does not plant a seed in the morning and harvest fruit in the evening. There is a hidden season, a season where nothing appears to be happening, a season where growth is invisible, a season where the ground seems silent. Yet beneath the surface, life is forming, roots are stretching, strength is developing, preparation is taking place. And, my child, your life is no different. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean there is no movement. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean there is no progress. Just because you cannot see the answer does not mean I am not preparing it. There are things happening right now that your eyes cannot yet understand. There are conversations taking place. There are hearts being changed. There are circumstances being arranged. There are doors being prepared. And there are lessons being planted within you that will become priceless when the blessing finally arrives. Because the truth is this: if I gave you everything immediately, you might receive the blessing, but you would miss the transformation. And, my child, I care about both. I care about what I give you, but I also care about who you become while waiting for it. That is why this season feels so important. Because it is shaping something deeper than your circumstances. It is shaping your faith. It is teaching you how to trust me when you cannot trace me. It is teaching you how to walk by faith instead of sight. It is teaching you that my goodness is not dependent on how quickly I answer. You see, anyone can trust when the miracle is visible. Anyone can praise when the breakthrough has already arrived. Anyone can celebrate when the victory is obvious. But there is something beautiful that happens when a child continues believing before the evidence appears. That kind of faith moves heaven. That kind of faith changes hearts. That kind of faith transforms lives. And I see that faith growing inside you right now, even if you do not see it yourself. Every day you keep praying. Every day you keep standing. Every day you keep trusting despite the uncertainty. You are becoming stronger than you realize. You are becoming deeper than you realize. You are becoming closer to me than you realize. So do not despise this season. Do not call it wasted. Do not label it failure. Do not assume nothing is happening, because one day you will look back and discover that what felt like delay was actually preparation. What felt like silence was actually protection. And what felt like waiting was actually my hand leading you exactly where you needed to be. So stay with me, my child. Stay close. Stay faithful. Stay hopeful. Because in the next part of this journey, I want to show you something most people never understand. I want to show you what I am doing behind the scenes while you are waiting. Because, my child, one of the greatest misunderstandings you carry is believing that nothing is happening simply because you cannot see it. You have been measuring my activity by visible results. You have been looking at closed doors, unanswered prayers, delayed breakthroughs, unchanged circumstances. And because those things have not moved yet, you assume I am not moving either. But that is not how I work. Many of my greatest works begin in places human eyes cannot see. Before a tree appears above the ground, roots are already growing beneath it. Before dawn breaks across the horizon, light is already moving toward the earth. Before a miracle becomes visible, preparation is already taking place. And right now, my child, while you are waiting, I am working. While you are wondering, I am preparing. While you are questioning, I am arranging things in ways you cannot yet understand. There are people you have never met who will play a role in your future. I am already moving in their lives. There are opportunities you cannot yet imagine. I am already preparing them. There are prayers you have forgotten about. I have not forgotten a single one. There are promises you thought had expired. They have not. Because my timing is not limited by your calendar. My plans are not restricted by your deadlines. And my ability to bless you is not determined by how impossible the situation appears. My child, let me tell you something that may surprise you. Some of the things you call delays were actually my protection. You cried because a door closed, but you could not see what was waiting behind it. You felt rejected, but I was redirecting you. You felt abandoned, but I was shielding you. You thought you lost an opportunity, yet I was saving you from a burden that would have wounded your spirit. How many times have you looked back and realized that something you desperately wanted would have hurt you if you had received it? How many times have you later thanked me for a prayer I did not answer the way you expected? You see only a moment. I see the entire road. You see a chapter. I see the entire story. You see what is happening around you. I see what is happening ahead of you. That is why I need you to trust me when you do not understand me. Because understanding is not the foundation of faith. Trust is. My child, while you are waiting, I am also working inside you, not just around you, inside you. And often, that is the work that matters most. Because if I changed every circumstance without changing your heart, the blessing would never satisfy you. If I opened every door without building your character, you would struggle to carry what I gave you. If I answered every prayer immediately, you might receive the gift but miss the growth. So while you wait, I am strengthening your faith. I am deepening your patience. I am teaching you dependence. I am teaching you peace. I am teaching you to trust me instead of trusting only what you can see. And though this process is not always comfortable, it is holy. Because every season of waiting creates a choice. Will you trust what you see, or will you trust what I said? The answer to that question determines whether waiting becomes a prison or a classroom. Many people become bitter while waiting. Others become stronger. The difference is not the length of the wait. The difference is what they choose to believe during it. My child, do not allow this season to convince you that I have forgotten you. The enemy wants you to focus on what has not happened. I want you to remember what already has. Remember the times I carried you. Remember the prayers I already answered. Remember the doors I already opened. Remember the battles I already brought you through. You are not standing in uncertainty because I have failed you. You are standing in uncertainty because you are between chapters. And there is a difference. The story is not over. The answer is not gone. The promise is not dead. The breakthrough is not canceled. You are simply in a place where I am still writing. And my child, some of my finest work happens in these hidden places. Some of the greatest blessings are being formed while nothing appears to be changing. That is why I need you to stop interpreting silence as absence. Because silence can mean preparation. Silence can mean alignment. Silence can mean that pieces are moving into place that your eyes cannot yet see. Think about this. When an arrow is about to be launched forward, it is first pulled backward. When a building is about to rise higher, the foundation must first go deeper. When a miracle is about to be revealed, preparation often becomes more intense. And perhaps that is exactly where you are right now. Perhaps what feels like being held back is actually preparation for being sent forward. Perhaps what feels like delay is actually development. Perhaps what feels like nothing is actually everything coming together. So before we continue, I want you to do something. Take a moment and thank me for the things I am doing that you cannot yet see. Thank me for the doors I am preparing. Thank me for the people I am positioning. Thank me for the prayers I am still answering. Thank me for the protection you did not recognize, because gratitude opens your eyes to my presence. And when you begin to see my presence, fear loses its grip. My child, stay with me, because what I am about to tell you next is something your heart desperately needs to hear. The blessing you have been praying for may be much closer than you think. I know that is difficult for you to believe right now, because when you look around, you still see the same circumstances, the same challenges, the same unanswered questions, the same mountain standing in front of you. And yet, my child, appearances can be deceiving. What you see today is not always a reflection of what I am doing tomorrow. Many times the greatest shifts happen just before the breakthrough becomes visible. The night is darkest before the dawn. The seed breaks open before it grows. The pressure increases before the miracle appears. And perhaps that is why this season has felt so intense. Not because I have moved farther away, but because you are closer than ever to what I have been preparing. My child, there are moments in life when everything can change with a single conversation. One phone call, one opportunity, one meeting, one decision, one unexpected moment. You spend months believing nothing is happening. Then suddenly, everything begins to move. Not because I started working that day, but because the preparation was finally complete. You often judge my work by what happens in public, but most of my work happens in private. Long before David stood before Goliath, I was preparing him in hidden fields. Long before Joseph stood in the palace, I was preparing him in places he never wanted to be. Long before doors opened, I was building the person who would walk through them. And, my child, I am doing the same for you. You are not as far away as you think. The answer is not as distant as it feels. The blessing is not lost. The promise is not forgotten. The breakthrough is not impossible. You simply cannot see all the pieces yet. But I can. I see every detail. I see every connection. I see every opportunity. I see every path that is opening before you. And because I see it all, I need you to trust me even when you cannot. Too often, fear convinces you that nothing will ever change. Fear speaks in absolutes. It will always be this way. You will never recover. You will never overcome this. You will never see your answer. But fear is a liar, because your future has not been written by fear. It has been written by me, and I am not limited by the obstacles that seem impossible to you. My child, think about all the times in your life when I made a way where there seemed to be none. Think about the doors you never expected to open. Think about the people I brought into your life at exactly the right moment. Think about the blessings that arrived when you least expected them. At one point, those miracles seemed impossible too. At one point, you could not imagine how things would work out. Yet somehow, I carried you through. Yet somehow, I provided. Yet somehow, I made a way. The same God who was faithful then is faithful now. I have not changed. My power has not diminished. My love has not weakened. My promises have not expired. If I was faithful in your yesterday, I will be faithful in your tomorrow. So stop measuring your future by your current circumstances. Stop assuming that what you see today is all there will ever be. Stop allowing temporary delays to become permanent conclusions. Because your story is still unfolding. My child, I need you to understand something important. Sometimes the blessing arrives quietly, not with thunder, not with spectacle, not with immediate fanfare. Sometimes it begins as a small opportunity, a simple conversation, a new perspective, a door that seems insignificant at first. Do not overlook these moments, because I often hide extraordinary things inside ordinary beginnings. Many people pray for miracles while ignoring the opportunities standing right in front of them. They wait for dramatic signs while missing my gentle guidance. They look toward the horizon while ignoring the door I have already placed beside them. Stay attentive. Stay prayerful. Stay available. Because when I move, I want your heart to be ready. Not fearful, not cynical, not exhausted by disappointment. Ready. Ready to receive. Ready to walk forward. Ready to step into what I have prepared. And my child, there is another reason I want you to remain hopeful. Because the blessing you seek is not only about changing your circumstances, it is about revealing my goodness. When the answer comes, I do not want you to think luck found you. I want you to recognize my hand. When the breakthrough arrives, I do not want you to glorify coincidence. I want you to remember my faithfulness. When the door opens, I do not want you to forget the journey that brought you there. Because one day, someone else will be standing where you are now. Someone else will be tired. Someone else will be waiting. Someone else will be wondering if I still hear their prayers. And your testimony will become their encouragement. Your story will become their hope. Your breakthrough will become proof that I am still working. That is why this season matters. That is why your faith matters. That is why your perseverance matters. Because what I am doing in your life is larger than this moment, larger than this problem, larger than this waiting season. So lift your eyes, my child. Not because everything has already changed, but because change is coming. Lift your eyes. Not because the answer is fully visible, but because it is already moving toward you. Lift your eyes. Not because you have all the details, but because you know the one who holds them. And as you continue walking with me, there is something I need to warn you about. Because when a blessing draws near, there is often a temptation that becomes stronger than ever before. The temptation to quit. The temptation to walk away. The temptation to give up just before the breakthrough arrives. My child, this is one of the enemy's oldest strategies. Not to stop the blessing, not to cancel my promise, not to destroy my plan. He cannot do any of those things. Instead, he tries to convince you to walk away before you see what I have prepared. He whispers to your heart, nothing is changing. You've waited long enough. Maybe it wasn't meant for you. Maybe it's time to stop believing. And if you listen long enough, those whispers begin to sound like your own thoughts. That is why I am speaking to you today. Because I do not want you to mistake exhaustion for wisdom. I do not want you to mistake disappointment for discernment. And I do not want you to mistake temporary delay for permanent defeat. My child, there is a difference between waiting and being abandoned. There is a difference between preparation and rejection. There is a difference between silence and absence. And right now, what feels like the end may simply be the final stretch before the answer appears. I know you are tired. I know there are days when your faith feels strong and days when it feels fragile. I know there are moments when hope rises in your heart and moments when fear tries to pull it back down. I know. I see every battle that no one else sees. I see the prayers you never told anyone about. I see the tears you wiped away before others noticed. I see the courage it takes to keep moving forward when your heart wants to stop. And my child, heaven sees it too. Nothing about your perseverance has gone unnoticed. Every act of faith matters. Every prayer matters. Every step matters. Every time you chose trust over fear, even for a moment, it mattered. Because faith is not measured by perfection. Faith is measured by persistence. It is choosing to trust me again today, and then again tomorrow, and then again the day after that, even when you do not have all the answers. My child, I need you to hear this clearly. Do not leave the field before the harvest. Do not abandon the journey before the destination. Do not stop praying because you have not yet seen the answer. Do not stop believing because you have not yet seen the evidence. Do not stop trusting because you have not yet seen the breakthrough. The enemy wants you to quit because he knows something you do not. He knows how close you are. He knows that if you keep walking with me, he cannot stop what I am preparing. He knows that if you remain faithful, the story he hoped would end in defeat will end in victory. And that is why the pressure often increases before the breakthrough. That is why doubt sometimes grows louder just before the answer arrives. That is why discouragement often becomes stronger when you are nearest to your blessing, because darkness fights hardest when it knows dawn is approaching. My child, remember this. The strongest temptation to quit often comes right before the greatest reason to continue. Many people never see the answer because they stop one step too soon. They walk away when they should have stayed. They surrender when they should have trusted. They stop knocking just before the door opens. Do not let that be your story. Stay. Stay in prayer. Stay in faith. Stay in my presence. Stay connected to me. Even if you only have enough strength for one more step today, take that step. Even if your faith feels small, bring it to me. Even if all you can pray is one sentence, pray it. Because I can do more with a surrendered heart than you can do with perfect circumstances. My child, you have been focusing on how long the journey has been, but I want you to focus on how far I have already brought you. Look back for a moment. You have survived things you once thought would destroy you. You have overcome battles you once thought were impossible. You have walked through seasons you never imagined you could endure. And yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still seeking me. That is not an accident. That is evidence of my faithfulness. You may feel weak, but you are stronger than you think. You may feel uncertain, but you are farther along than you realize. You may feel discouraged, but you are closer than you know. My child, let me tell you something beautiful. Your breakthrough is not dependent on your ability to hold everything together. It is dependent on my ability to remain faithful. And I have never failed. Not once. Not ever. I was faithful yesterday. I am faithful today. And I will be faithful tomorrow. So when fear tells you to quit, answer with faith. When discouragement tells you to stop, answer with trust. When doubt tells you nothing is happening, remember what I have already told you. I am working. I am preparing. I am moving. Even now. Especially now. And before we continue, I want you to make a declaration. Not because I need to hear it, but because your heart needs to remember it. Say these words. Lord, I will not give up. Say it again. Lord, I will not walk away. And one more time. Lord, I trust your timing. Because the season you are in is not only about waiting for a blessing, it is about learning how to walk with me while you wait. And that brings us to something many people never learn. Because while you are waiting for the answer, there is a way to live that will fill your heart with peace instead of anxiety. There is a way to wait without being consumed by fear. There is a way to remain joyful before the breakthrough arrives. And, my child, that way is not found in controlling your circumstances. It is found in staying close to me. You see, many people spend their waiting season focused entirely on what they want me to do. They think constantly about the answer, the breakthrough, the blessing, the open door, the miracle. And because their attention is fixed on the destination, they miss my presence in the journey. But I want to show you a better way, a way that brings peace while you wait, a way that keeps your heart steady when circumstances are uncertain, a way that allows you to experience my blessing before the answer even arrives. My child, while you wait, keep talking to me. Not because I have forgotten your needs. I haven't. Not because I need reminders. I don't. But because prayer keeps your heart connected to mine. Too often, prayer becomes something people do only when they need something. Yet prayer is so much more than a request. It is relationship. It is communion. It is closeness. It is a child sitting beside their father. And when you stay close to me, something beautiful happens. Fear loses its power. Anxiety begins to loosen its grip. Peace starts filling the places where worry once lived. Not because every problem disappears immediately, but because my presence becomes greater than your fear. So, keep praying, even when you do not see results. Keep talking to me, even when you do not feel emotional. Keep showing up, because every moment spent with me is strengthening your spirit. My child, there is a second thing I want you to do while you wait. Trust me. Not occasionally. Not only when things are going well. Trust me daily. Trust me when the answer is visible. Trust me when it is hidden. Trust me when you understand. Trust me when you do not. Trust is not a feeling. Trust is a decision. A decision to believe that I am good even when life is confusing. A decision to believe that I am faithful even when circumstances are uncertain. A decision to believe that my plans are working even when you cannot yet see them. And every time you choose trust over fear, your faith grows stronger. My child, the third thing I want you to do is something many people overlook. Give thanks, not only after the breakthrough, before it. Not only when the answer arrives, before it. I know that sounds difficult, because gratitude feels natural when everything goes well. But true gratitude is born from faith. It says, Lord, I may not see it yet, but I trust you. It says, I may not understand everything, but I know you are working. It says, I may still be waiting, but I refuse to live as though you have abandoned me. Gratitude changes the atmosphere of your heart. It shifts your focus away from what is missing and toward what I am already doing. And, my child, there is always more to thank me for than you realize. Thank me for the breath in your lungs. Thank me for the strength that carried you this far. Thank me for the prayers I already answered. Thank me for the protection you never saw. Thank me for the blessings you take for granted. When gratitude fills your heart, bitterness has less room to grow. When gratitude fills your heart, fear begins to shrink. When gratitude fills your heart, hope starts rising again. And there is one more thing I want you to do while you wait. Remain faithful. Do not put your life on hold until the breakthrough arrives. Do not postpone your joy. Do not postpone your obedience. Do not postpone your purpose. Live faithfully right where you are. Love the people around you. Serve where you can. Be kind. Be generous. Be patient. Be faithful in the small things. Because the way you handle today's assignment prepares you for tomorrow's blessing. Many people want the next chapter while neglecting the chapter they are currently living. But my child, every season matters. Every step matters. Every act of obedience matters. Nothing is wasted when it is surrendered to me. You do not need to know every detail about the future. You only need enough faith for today, enough faith for the next step, enough faith to keep walking. And if you stumble, I will help you. If you grow tired, I will strengthen you. If you become discouraged, I will remind you of my promises. You do not have to carry this season alone. You never were meant to. Because the greatest blessing during a season of waiting is not the answer itself. It is learning how deeply loved you are before the answer arrives. It is discovering that my presence can sustain you. It is realizing that your peace does not have to depend on your circumstances. My child, if you learn this lesson, then even the waiting becomes a gift. Because while others are controlled by fear, you will be anchored by faith. While others are overwhelmed by uncertainty, you will be guided by peace. While others are chasing answers, you will be walking with me. And one day, when the blessing finally arrives, you will understand something that many people never discover. The greatest miracle was not only what I gave you, the greatest miracle was what I was doing inside you the entire time. And that is exactly what I want to talk to you about next. Because the person you are becoming may be even more important than the blessing you have been praying for. My child, I know that statement may surprise you, because for so long your attention has been fixed on the answer, the open door, the healing, the provision, the restoration, the breakthrough, and there is nothing wrong with bringing those desires to me. I placed many of those desires in your heart myself, but today I want you to look deeper, beyond what you want me to do, beyond what you want me to give, beyond what you want me to change. I want you to look at who you are becoming through this journey. Because while you have been praying for a blessing, I have been shaping a person. While you have been asking me to change your circumstances, I have been transforming your character. While you have been waiting for the answer, I have been preparing your heart, and my child, that work is precious to me. Far more precious than you realize. Think about the person you were a year ago. Think about the fears you carried, the worries that controlled you, the wounds that defined you, the doubts that overwhelmed you. Now, look at yourself today. You may still have questions. You may still have struggles. You may still be waiting. But you are not the same person. You have grown. You have matured. You have learned things that could only be learned by walking through difficult seasons. You have discovered strengths you never knew you possessed. You have developed compassion for people who are hurting. You have learned how to depend on me in ways you never did before. And all of that matters. Because my goal has never been simply to improve your circumstances. My goal is to transform your life. The world focuses on success. I focus on transformation. The world asks, what do you have? I ask, who are you becoming? The world celebrates achievements. I celebrate growth. The world measures appearance. I measure the heart. And my child, your heart is changing. Slowly, quietly, beautifully. Even on the days when you think nothing is happening, you are becoming someone who trusts more deeply, someone who loves more freely, someone who forgives more quickly, someone who stands more firmly, someone who walks more closely with me. That is not weakness. That is maturity. That is not failure. That is growth. That is not delay. That is development. Many people receive blessings without developing character. And when the blessing arrives, it eventually becomes a burden because they were not prepared to carry it. But I love you too much to give you something that would destroy you. So before I increase the blessing, I strengthen the vessel. Before I expand the opportunity, I deepen the foundation. Before I elevate the assignment, I prepare the heart. That is why this season matters. Because you are becoming capable of carrying what you once prayed for. My child, one day you will look back and realize that some of the greatest gifts I gave you were not things at all. They were qualities I formed within you, the patience that keeps you steady, the faith that keeps you moving, the wisdom that protects you, the peace that anchors you, the courage that helps you continue. These treasures cannot be taken away. Circumstances may change, people may come and go, seasons may rise and fall, but what I build within you remains. That is why I never waste pain. I never waste waiting. I never waste disappointment. I never waste tears. When you place them in my hands, I transform them into something valuable. What once wounded you becomes wisdom. What once broke you becomes strength. What once made you cry becomes part of your testimony. Nothing is wasted when I am involved. Nothing. Not a single prayer. Not a single tear. Not a single season. My child, perhaps the greatest miracle happening right now is not around you. It is within you. You are learning to trust me without constant reassurance. You are learning to follow me without having every answer. You are learning to find peace without needing perfect circumstances. And those lessons will serve you for the rest of your life. Because blessings come and go. Opportunities come and go. Seasons come and go. But the person you become stays with you. And the person I am shaping is stronger than fear, wiser than yesterday, closer to me than ever before. That is why I smile when I look at you. Not because you have done everything perfectly, not because you never struggled, not because you never doubted, but because I see the growth, I see the progress, I see the transformation, I see what you cannot yet fully see. And I am proud of the work my spirit is doing within you. My child, do not underestimate what is happening in this season. You are not simply waiting, you are becoming. You are becoming more resilient, more faithful, more compassionate, more surrendered, more prepared, more like the person I created you to be. And as beautiful as that transformation is, there is something even greater I want you to understand. Because once you realize who you are becoming, you are finally ready to understand who you truly are. Not according to your fears, not according to your failures, not according to what happened to you, but according to what I say about you. And that, my child, is where the deepest blessing begins. Because from the very beginning, you have been searching for a sign. Do you remember? That was how this conversation started. You were looking for reassurance, looking for evidence, looking for something that would tell you I was still with you. You wanted confirmation that I had not forgotten you. You wanted proof that your prayers still mattered. You wanted to know if the blessing was truly coming. And my child, after everything we have talked about today, I want you to understand something that can change your life forever. The greatest blessing was never simply the answer. The greatest blessing was never simply the breakthrough. The greatest blessing was never simply the open door. The greatest blessing has always been me, my presence, my love, my faithfulness, my hand upon your life. Because there are people who have wealth but no peace, success but no joy, opportunities but no purpose, possessions but no fulfillment. Yet when you have me, you possess something greater than any temporary blessing this world can offer. When you have me, you have hope in uncertainty, peace in the storm, strength in weakness, direction in confusion, comfort in pain, and love that never changes. That is why I have been calling you closer throughout this entire journey. Not because I wanted something from you, but because I wanted something for you. I wanted you to discover that my presence is enough. And when my presence becomes enough, every other blessing becomes a gift instead of an idol. My child, listen carefully. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. Those are lies that fear has been whispering to you. But they are not what I say about you. Let me remind you who you are. You are loved, deeply loved, completely loved, unconditionally loved. Not because of what you have accomplished, not because of how perfect you have been, not because you always got everything right, but because you are my child. You belong to me, and nothing can change that. Not your mistakes, not your failures, not your fears, not your past, not your current struggle, nothing. My child, when you begin to see yourself through my eyes, everything changes. You stop living from fear. You begin living from faith. You stop chasing approval. You begin resting in acceptance. You stop defining yourself by what you lack. You begin defining yourself by who I say you are. And that is freedom. Real freedom. The kind of freedom that circumstances cannot take away. The kind of freedom that remains even while you are waiting. Because your identity is not found in the blessing. Your identity is found in me. And once you understand that, waiting loses its power to control you. Fear loses its power to intimidate you. Disappointment loses its power to define you. Because you know who holds your future. You know who walks beside you. You know who is writing your story. My child, there will still be days when questions arise. There will still be moments when uncertainty tries to return. There will still be times when the road ahead seems unclear. But when those moments come, remember what I have told you today. Remember that I am working. Remember that I am preparing. Remember that I am faithful. Remember that I have not forgotten you. Remember that your blessing is closer than you think. And most importantly, remember that I am with you, always. Not only on the good days, not only when prayers are answered quickly, not only when life makes sense, always. I was with you in yesterday's struggle. I am with you in today's waiting, and I will be with you in tomorrow's breakthrough. That will never change. My child, perhaps you came here looking for a sign. Perhaps you came here wondering whether I still hear your prayers. Perhaps you came here hoping for confirmation that I am still moving in your life. If that is why you came, then hear me now. This message was your sign. Not because every detail of your future has been revealed, not because every question has been answered, but because I wanted you to know that I see you, I hear you, I love you, and I am still working, even now, especially now. So lift your head, take a deep breath, release the burden you have been carrying. Place your fears in my hands. Place your future in my hands. Place your waiting in my hands. And trust me. Trust me one more day. Trust me one more step. Trust me one more prayer. Because the story is not over. The promise is not forgotten. The blessing is not lost. And your breakthrough is still on its way. Before we end, I want you to make one final declaration of faith. Not for me. For your own heart. Say these words. Lord, I trust you. Again. Lord, I trust your timing. And one more time. Lord, I believe you are working even when I cannot see it. Hold on to those words, my child. Carry them into tomorrow. Carry them into your waiting. Carry them into every uncertain moment ahead. And if this message strengthened your faith today, share it with someone who may be struggling to keep believing, someone who feels forgotten, someone who feels weary, someone who needs hope. Let them know they are not alone. Let them know I have not forgotten them. Let them know that I am still working, because the same God who is writing your story is working in theirs as well. Now go forward in peace. Go forward in faith. Go forward with confidence. And remember, your blessing is closer than you think. I am with you, and I always will be.